Hello. Today we're going to talk about sleep. The question is, will I ever sleep again? I guess I'll start by saying, yes, you will get more sleep, and then you won't, and then you will again, and on and on and on. There will be so many phases of sleep throughout the rest of your life. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the details of quantity and quality of sleep and how we might be able to have better control over this using proper sleep hygiene tips. Good sleep is necessary for good health. Experts say we need 7 to 9 hours of good quality sleep each night to stay in good health. And of course, every person differs a little. Some people require more sleep, others require a little less sleep. Not getting enough sleep for your body can stress your body in many ways. Over time, for instance, poor sleep can cause major cardiovascular disease risk factors, including obesity, high blood pressure, diabetes, and more. For instance, poor sleep can lead to a change in the hormones that control your eating behavior, possibly causing you to gain weight. It can make you feel hungrier throughout the day. These hormones that lead to a feeling of hunger can be increased throughout the day. Increased tiredness can make you too tired to make healthy lifestyle choices, causing you to make these unhealthy decisions, especially related to food, maybe choosing something that's less healthy to consume, as well as to just consume more calories over the day. You're tired, and so to fill that space, we often will eat to try to wake us up. Sleep deprivation and sleep disorders have also been linked to increased inflammation in the body, and this can increase your risk of cardiovascular issues. It's also linked to increased stress, anxiety, and depression. Overall, poor quality and quantity of sleep can increase your risk of heart attack, stroke, and death from cardiovascular disease. So the next few slides for the rest of this module are going to talk about ways that we might improve not just our sleep quantity, but also the quality of our sleep to help decrease this risk of cardiovascular concerns. Okay, so we often hear this term sleep hygiene being thrown around. So what does it really mean? Sleep hygiene refers to both your sleep environment and behavior. Healthy habits, behaviors, and environmental factors can be adjusted to help you have a good night's sleep. Poor sleep hygiene can negatively impact both your sleep quantity and sleep quality. Good sleep hygiene includes things like setting up a strict sleep schedule, following a bedtime routine, forming healthy habits, and optimizing your bedroom for sleep. Paying attention to sleep hygiene is one of the most straightforward ways that you can set yourself up for better sleep. Strong sleep hygiene means having both a bedroom environment and daily routines that promote consistent, uninterrupted sleep. Every sleeper can tailor their sleep hygiene practices to suit their specific needs. In the process, you can harness positive habits to make it easier to sleep soundly throughout the night and wake up feeling well rested. Sleep hygiene alone will not cure sleep problems, but it can set you up for the best outcomes possible. So talk to your doctor if you have any concerns beyond these sleep hygiene tips. All right, let's start with some tips about setting your sleep schedule. So first, we want to try to have a fixed wake up time. Regardless of whether it's a weekday or a weekend, we want to try to wake up at the same time. And this is because a fluctuating sleep schedule keeps you from getting into this rhythm of a nice consistent sleep each night. Number 2 is around prioritizing sleep. This is definitely one that I struggle with. It might be tempting to skip sleep or to stay up a little later in order to prioritize things like socializing or exercise, or in my case, just wanting a few minutes to myself, to watch a TV show or to just have a few minutes where nobody's demanding something of me and I just get to have some alone time. But it's vital to treat sleep as a priority. You want to calculate a target bedtime based on what that fixed wake up time is, and then do your best to be ready for bed around that time each night. Of course, this might fluctuate a little, obviously based on baby's schedule and when you're able to get the baby down and what things you might have to get done in the evening, but you want to do your best to prioritize sleep as much as you can. Number 3 is around making gradual adjustments. If you do want to shift your sleep times, whether this is out of just a want or it's a necessity, you don't want to try to do it all in one fell swoop because that can throw your schedule way out of whack. Instead, you'll want to try to make small step-by-step adjustments, of up to, it can be as little as a few minutes each day on either end, wake up time, bedtime, or both ends, or up to about an hour or so that you can get adjusted and settle into a new schedule. This could be in the case of if you're planning some travel where there's a time difference. It can be around the changing of the clocks in the spring and the fall, that you really want to plan ahead with this. And in the weeks leading up to those instances, really start to make those more gradual adjustments so that when the time comes, you're prepared and it doesn't set you way off of your sleep schedule. And then finally, we just want to be careful with naps. We don't want to overdo it. Naps can be a really handy way to regain a little bit of energy during the day, but then they can also throw off your sleep at night. So if we are going to have naps, we want to try to keep naps relatively short and limit them to earlier in the day. Sometime in the morning, early afternoon, but really once we get into mid and late afternoon, we want to try to avoid naps so that it doesn't then affect our ability to fall asleep and stay asleep that night. Okay, so one really useful tip is to follow a nightly routine. How you actually prepare for bed can determine how easily you'll be able to fall asleep. A pre-sleep playbook, including some of these tips below, can actually put you at ease and make it easier to fall asleep when you want to. So the first thing is to keep your routine consistent. You want to follow the same steps each night. These can include things like putting your pajamas on at a specific time and brushing your teeth. Following those same steps in the same order each night can help reinforce in your mind that it's almost bedtime. Next would be to budget about 30 minutes for winding down. So if you're going to sleep at 10 o'clock, then we want to, around 9:30, really start to wind down. We want to take advantage of whatever puts you in this sort of state of calm. This could be listening to some soft music or maybe to a podcast or an ebook, maybe doing some light stretching or yoga, reading, relaxation exercises, something that's really going to start to let you wind down. Next would be to dim your lights. Try to keep away from bright lights because they can actually hinder the production of melatonin. And this is a hormone that the body creates, which facilitates sleep. It allows us to become sleepier and to fall asleep. Next would be unplugging from our electronics. And this one's probably going to be the most difficult for most of us. You want to build in a 30 to 60 minute pre-bed buffer time that is completely device free. Cell phones, tablets, laptops, these can all cause mental stimulation, and that's hard to shut off. And what they also do is generate blue light that may decrease our melatonin production. Again, melatonin being this hormone that creates, or the body creates it to facilitate sleep. You want to test methods of relaxation. Instead of making falling asleep your goal, it's often easier to focus on relaxation. So things like meditation, mindfulness, paced breathing, and other relaxation techniques can help put us in the right mindset for bed. And finally, trying to avoid tossing and turning. It helps to have a healthy mental connection with being in bed and actually being asleep. For that reason, if after 20 minutes you actually haven't fallen asleep, the advice would be to get up, stretch, maybe read a book or do something else calming in a low light environment before then trying again to fall asleep. So avoid just laying there tossing and turning and maybe letting your mind go crazy. If after that 20 minutes that it's not working, you're not falling asleep, you'll want to get up and do something different to help calm your mind. It's not just bedtime habits that play a part in getting good sleep. We want to develop healthy daily habits. Incorporating positive routines during the day can support our circadian rhythm and then limit sleep disruptions at night. So the first sort of healthy daily habit would be to get daylight exposure. So light, especially sunlight, is one of the key drivers of our circadian rhythms that encourage good quality sleep. This is why sometimes people who work shift work or work the night shift often have challenges when it comes to sleeping, and that's because they get very little exposure to sunlight when they're sleeping through the day. Be physically active. Regular exercise can make it easier to sleep at night and also delivers a host of other health benefits. We've obviously talked in great detail about all of the benefits of regular exercise and physical activity. So here's another one. It helps you sleep better at night. Don't smoke. Nicotine actually stimulates the body in ways that disrupt sleep, which helps explain why smoking is correlated with many sleep problems. Often people think that if they go and have a cigarette, it might calm them down, but the chemicals within cigarettes actually can lead to disrupted sleep. So trying not to smoke at all, or if you do smoke, limiting your smoke the closer you get to bed, if possible. Reduce your alcohol consumption. So although alcohol may make it easier to initially fall asleep, the effect wears off over time, which then leads to disrupted sleep later in the night. As a result, it's best to moderate your alcohol consumption and avoid it later on in the evening if possible, so that your quality of sleep can be maintained without that interruption of the alcohol wearing off. Cutting down on our caffeine, and specifically cutting down on caffeine in the afternoon and evening. Because caffeine is a stimulant, it can cause you to stay wired or be wired even when you want to be able to rest. So you want to try to avoid it later in the day. We also need to be careful with our use of caffeine as a way to try to make up for lack of sleep. So we don't want to over caffeinate as a way of making up for that sleep that we are lacking. Next would be trying to avoid dining really late at night. Eating dinner late, especially if it's a big, heavy, maybe spicy meal, can mean you're still digesting it when it's time for bed. In general, any food or snacks that we might have before bed should be on the lighter side. This allows our body to digest and be finished with that before it's time for us to actually fall asleep, helping us then to fall asleep easier and to improve the quality of that sleep as well. And finally, we want to restrict our in-bed activity. So you want to build a link in your mind between sleep and being in your bed. So the best way to do this is to only use your bed for sleep or for sex, being the sort of one exception to that rule, but limiting our activities, our in-bed activities to sleep if possible. The basic concept of sleep hygiene, that your environment and habits can be optimized for better sleep, applies to just about everyone. But what ideal sleep hygiene looks like can vary based on the person. For that reason, it's worth testing out different adjustments to find what helps your sleep the most. You don't have to change everything at once. Small steps can move you toward better sleep hygiene. A central component of sleep hygiene beyond just habits is your sleep environment. To fall asleep more easily, you want your bedroom to be calm and free of disruptions. So let's talk about improving your sleep environment. Good sleep is more likely if your bedroom feels restful and comfortable. Some suggestions include having a comfortable mattress and pillow. Your sleeping surface is critical to comfort and pain-free sleep. So choose the best mattress and best pillow for your specific needs and do it wisely. Invest in a mattress and pillow that's comfortable and provide you with the correct level of support. Use excellent bedding. The sheets and blankets are the first thing you touch when you get into bed, so it's beneficial to make sure they match your needs and preferences. If you prefer something that's kind of fuzzy and warm, traps that heat in. Some people prefer really light, almost pillowy sheets so that it stays nice and cool and airy in the bed. So really find what matches your specific preferences. You want to set a cool yet comfortable temperature. Fine tune your bedroom's temperature to suit your preferences, but you want to err on the side of being a little bit cooler. Make sure the room is at the right temperature for you. For most people, this is somewhere between 17 and 19 degrees Celsius. We sleep better when it's a little bit cooler in our room. If this isn't possible, maybe open your window to allow a little bit of a breeze into your room. Next would be to block out light. If possible, use heavy curtains or an eye mask to prevent light from interrupting your sleep. Ensure the room is dark enough. An eye mask can be helpful if you're a shift worker and need to sleep during the day and therefore helps make it a little bit darker for you. And finally, drowning out noise. Earplugs can stop noise from keeping you awake. If you don't find them comfortable, you could try white noise machine or even a fan to drown out some bothersome noises. If you can't control noises, such as barking dogs or loud neighbors, then earplugs are probably the best way to go. Here are a few more tips to improve your sleep quantity and quality. Try taking a warm bath or shower to relax your entire body, including any muscles that might be tense or if you're feeling stressed. If you don't have time for that, try a hot water bottle. Listen to some of your favorite relaxing music. For some people, if music isn't what they want, then white noise or the sound of a fan can help reduce distractions while trying to sleep. This one I find quite important for me. If you find your mind is racing with tasks, ideas, thoughts, to-do lists, this sort of thing, spend a few minutes to write them down and then kind of set them aside and forget about them. I'm not the kind of person who really journals, I would say, but I do find my mind is racing with to-do lists. And so I do find it easier if I can just quickly jot down all these thoughts that I can work on the next day and get them out of my mind for night, sort of absolving myself of those that day. If you're feeling anxious, don't watch the news or other television programs that might upset you. It can actually worsen that anxiety. You want to think positively. When you find yourself worrying, stop and focus on what you've done well for the day, even small tasks that are accomplished. End your day with thoughts that are positive. Make some time for laughter. Maybe you'll rent a comedy video, watch a sitcom, or phone one of your friends and have a good laugh about something. Laughter is a natural stress releaser, so it's the best medicine for a good night's sleep. You can talk with someone you trust if you have to, let out any emotions from the day and really end on that positive note. And finally, when you're feeding your baby at night, you want to keep the room darkened and quiet to help really, keep that sort of nighttime feeling ambiance in the room. You want to, keep it nice and dim in there, very quiet, whispering, sort of not allowing yourself to be fully awakened. And really, this is the case if you're going to the washroom or really doing anything in the night. That you don't want to fully wake yourself up. And so trying to keep that bedroom environment or that nighttime environment is really important. Okay, so in summary, there are several steps you can take at home to reduce the impact of and even prevent the sleep difficulties that accompany early parenthood. These can help not only your sleep quantity, but also your sleep quality. It's important to engage in healthy habits daily. So these include things like sleeping when you can, asking for help so you can prioritize sleep, get your daily exercise, maybe go for a morning walk or fit in an afternoon workout. We want to avoid caffeine and alcohol and cigarettes late in the day. If your mind is racing with anxiety and stress, seek emotional support, whether that be professional or maybe just a close friend, so that we can absolve ourselves of that before we go to bed and we can go to bed with a calm and positive mind. Follow a nightly routine, and finally, optimize your bedroom. I hope you've enjoyed this module and learned a lot, and I hope you get a good night's sleep tonight.